Good morning. We today want to ask the question, how do people get saved? How do people come into a saving knowledge of who Jesus is? And we hear in our John chapter 6 reading some ideas of how Jesus says that happens, and they almost seem to put some kind of tension on each other. And so let's talk about it a little bit, and then let's talk about our role in the whole process. Verse 43, Jesus said to them, "Stop complaining among yourselves. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up on the last day." So we have first this statement from Jesus. Nobody can come unless the Father draws him. And then verse 47 then says, "Truly I tell you, anyone who believes has eternal life." John 3:16, a paraphrase of that. "Whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." So we have these two ideas at play in this chapter. Number one, nobody can come unless the Father draws him. And then as we get on into the Gospel of John, we see all sorts of truths. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody can come to the Father except through me. Jesus, John 10 says, "I am the gate." You have to enter into the pen through the gate. Everyone else is a thief or a robber. And yet, anybody who does that can believe, but the only people that can are the ones the Father calls. So how does that play out? Well, we see that in the ability to believe the truth of the gospel. After everybody leaves him and says, "This is too hard," he says, "This is why I told you that no one can come to me unless it is granted to him by the Father." This is why I told you that, because the Father does something. He somehow quickens the spirit of the one who is able to believe. Salvation starts with God. We have to believe that, because Jesus also says, "I'm not going to lose anybody that the Father gave me. They will hold fast. They will remain steady." So this is a critical series of statements and beliefs. Number one, it starts with the Father. Number two, the Father makes the process endure. But three, that it's an open process also for whosoever believes, and that it's God beginning, God sustaining, and that we contribute. It's somehow, this is the mystery, our will into it, that we submit and we say, "God, we submit to you. We love you." The story of the prodigal son is a great example of that submitting of the will back to the Father and putting away our rebellious ways. And we combine this with, in Romans, how beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring the good news, because no one is able to comprehend the truth of God unless it is explained to them, unless somebody tells them, and we're the agents of that. So it's a process that begins with the Father, and somehow God intertwines our humanity with that so that we can explain these truths and we can issue the call of salvation so that whosoever will is going to be able to come. What an honor. 2 Corinthians 5, that we are his ambassadors, issuing this call, "Be reconciled to God." You are profoundly honored by God. He has given you glory, that you have the keys to the kingdom and the opportunity to give this declaration. And yet, even in the midst of all this, I would end with the how of salvation is a profound mystery. It's God's domain. And all we are called to do is to be his obedient servants. So go and do it, church. I love you very much. and I look forward to talking to you soon.